I remember doing that. Okay, I think we're live. Hi!
Hi! Hi! Hello, world.
Oh, that's so unprofessional of me. All right, I got there. All right. Hi, beauties. So grateful to be here with you. This is Radiance. Woo! We're on a True EQ. You made it here. This is for Lighthouse Effects, where we bring emotional wellness and health. Where the heck is the camera? There it is. Okay. Where we bring emotional health and emotional tools and emotional healing techniques for your literacy and to help you fulfill your vibrancy. So one of my dearest friends is joining us this evening, and this is Miss Kate Smith. Yeah!
Hi! Very happy. I'm very excited to see you, and I'm very happy to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. So one piece that I just really want to drop in with around where we are, I want to introduce you first. So you've been lead singer of Bad Karma, and you're really, really connected to the metal scene, and you have been for forever. And,
yes.
And the scene, and I remember just going and seeing shows with you as a teenager. And that drive for the angst, that kind of And so I really wanted to just share this moment with you because, first of all, to celebrate you as a music journalist. You've been able to speak with some of the some people who really help to inspire and transform your life. So how about we begin there? Okay, go ahead. I'm all ears.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I started out writing when I was about 20 years old, and I just started contacting different webzines online saying that I was a fan of the metal scene and metal bands, and share my passion with them. I never had written before in my life, but I just started with certain ones who would give me a chance, and I would do reviews and interviews, and they'd be so-so, and then I continued on until, I got better with it, and I just started being able to get in contact with more and more people. And one of my favorite people out of all the metal musicians that I've talked to is Doro Pesch, who is formerly a warlock, but she's been on her own for over 30 years, she just empowered women, and she's just brought so much love and passion to the metal scene. When I see her live, she just engages the audience. She's just always talking to the audience, or just going out there and just making them a part of the show. You see some musicians who just are just standing there and giving a performance. She does way more than that. She is just out there. She's with the fans. She considers herself a fan and not a musician. So I just love her for that. I think she's just one of the greatest people I've ever talked to.
Yeah. So tell me about, oh my gosh, I can totally hear that. Okay. Tell me about the distance of, when you're in the place of really wanting to be understood. Tell me how music stirs you and that connectivity to that space. Tell me about that, please.
So when I want to be understood, I just listen to a certain song, and it just really makes me feel connected. I hear when I'm feeling a certain way, and I'll put on I can't, name just one certain album, but I'll put on a certain song, and they'll be talking about exactly what I'm feeling at that moment, and I'll just be like, yes, this is yes, this is how I'm feeling right now. Thank you. It'd be Journey or Foreigner, or it would be Judas Priest or something like that. Like you were talking about that angst and that anger and you just be like, yes, thank you for being able to put that out in words and music. So I'm not just feeling it on my own. I'm able to yell it out to the world with the song and feel connected with it that way too.
Yeah. I remember being like a teenager and we would go to like Metallica and I'd be like, or any of like the punk shows, and I'd be like, Kate, as I'd see you like kind of flailing around in the mosh pits. And you'd come out and you'd be like bloody and you'd be like, oh my gosh, I love this. And then the one time that I like fell in the mosh pit by accident and you were trying to rescue me and pull me out of the mosh pit.
I remember that too. I was like, oh, no.
So, I want to thank you for that. So I didn't get my head kicked in. I really appreciate it. But tell me about, when we don't have the language and the vocabulary as young people or really as anybody, tell me about the expansion that happened for you as you started to learn to navigate that, because, we've been connected. I think were you 13 when we met? I was 15.
I think so. Yeah. 15. Yeah. 15.
And so tell me about like what started out for you, like that core worth around the anger, the sadness, or the fear. And then because really the first time that I saw you kind of walk into that and was really around music and around art and that creation energy. So can you tell me about your journey?
My journey. So I started out, I was always a very quiet person. I never really expressed emotions or anything like that. So when I started feeling, basically when I turned 13 and I started feeling different emotions, I didn't know how to express them. So my way of expressing was basically shutting off. I started drinking when I was 10 years old. I started doing drugs when I was 12, and that was my escape. That was my way of escaping my sadness, my anger, my fear. When I was away from my body and my soul and my spirit, I wasn't afraid of anything. Nothing bothered me. I could do anything and there would be no consequences and nothing like that. But of course, when I came back, there was that same fear and that same anger and that same frustration. It wasn't until you were probably one of the people that woke me up when I was 17. And I was basically pretty much trying to kill myself through drugs and alcohol. And you came to me saying, I'm not going to watch you die. Those were your words. And I was like, wow, because I didn't realize in my head that's how far I had gone. And I didn't know really up until that point, I really hadn't expressed anything about what I had been through as a kid or as a teenager. And it wasn't until when you said that to me that it really made me realize that I don't want to die either. I don't want to end my life. I'm not trying to do that, but I just didn't have any other way I didn't have any other knowledge of showing any emotion or expressing what I was going through. So I think through that, little by little, I started, talking about what I had been through. I was bullied as a kid. I was picked on as a teenager just because I looked different and I listened to metal and punk music and I was an outcast. And I always had a wall. I had a wall up for a very long time, and it took a while for me to be able to bring that wall down and ask for help. And you were one of the people that really helped me with that. So thank you.
Yeah.
I love you for that.
Yeah. I love that you let people in to see, how magnificent you are. And And I really hear your story in my heart, because I recognize the isolation of the outcast, and how often people feel isolated and then they create isolation further,
Right.
just to try to get back to themselves through
Right.
drugs and alcohol, oftentimes, because it's the only thing that will quiet the suicide for some period of time.
Right.
The suicide
Exactly.
voice. Yeah.
Exactly.
So can you, I'm really hearing that, and I really hear that in my heart space. So can you tell me some like key songs that really spoke to you at 3 a.m.? Because I remember being a teenager with you, and, you know, like the 3 a.m. and the 2 a.m. and there's nobody else around that will hear you and you're crazy. But this is like, what were the things that, I remember Metallica was like huge for you. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a huge one. But honestly, like one of the biggest songs that really, like my 3 a.m. song is a song called Hold On to My Heart by the band Wasp. And it's actually a ballad. And it's basically about having somebody there saying, hold me, hold on to my hand, help me through this. If you're here just for a little while, I can get through tonight. I can get through today. If you're here to hold my hand and just listen to me, I can get through this day, and I can get through this evening. And that was one of my major 3 a.m. songs that really spoke to me, because that's how I felt. Like I just needed someone, like if I could just have somebody there to talk to, I would be able to get through that night and through that day, because it was a day by day. It wasn't, I didn't look towards, what was going to be happening next week or anything like that. It was basically a minute by minute, what I was doing and what I was feeling.
Yeah, I one piece that I'm really is that, oh my gosh, does the microphone sound as weird to you as it does to me right now?
Yeah.
I'm in this like Mercury retrograde. Someday I will win. Someday I will win. So one piece that I'm really hearing. Oh, Anna says hello. Hello, Anna. Grateful you're with us. One piece that I'm like really listening into is, as a musician, like writing out lyrics, and our pain brings us into the very minute. Like there's nothing beyond this exact minute. So what's intriguing to me is so often people who aren't in pain can just kind of float around and float along and get from one minute to the next and think about next week or next year. But when we're in pain body, there's literally, like you were just saying, that Wasp song of, if I can get through this next moment, then that's, like you're literally going breath to breath at that moment. So during the times that you were in the breath to breath moments, where did you feel music penetrate your body? Like where literally was it that you were feeling it inside of your body?
In my heart. In my heart, in my chest, in my throat, in my stomach. I would feel it mainly there, just in this whole area. I would feel it.
Yeah. For the people watching, we really want to invite you in. And even if you're watching later, type in like the songs that like really grab you, your 3 a.m. songs. It could be 3 in the afternoon too, but whatever that moment is, and then where you're connected to that in your body space. We'd love to be able to hear that, because we put together playlists, and it helps to bring at the very least humor to people, and at the very most people like, oh my gosh, I love this song. So through that place of isolation, through like that, when you were in that space of the 3 a.m., what was your journey process to start to get out of the isolation into this place of oh my gosh, I need to start asking for some support? What was that process like for you?
So a lot of it was just writing. I would write a lot in my journal, just write down a lot of my thoughts and my feelings and just what I needed to do in order to, and I had nowhere to go, I felt like, because, when you're 14 or 15, you look to your guidance counselors or you look to your, your parents, and you just feel like I can't talk to them. And it is just like, when I started writing down exactly how I was feeling, I felt more that I could communicate that. Because when you are just feeling it, it's so overwhelming and it's so frustrating that you can't communicate it. But when I started writing down what I needed, through that, I was able to focus more on what I needed to ask for from people in order to start breaking down that wall and start going to people and going to places like AA and support groups for people. And when I started doing that, when I started talking to people who had been through that same situation, that's when I really realized, like, I'm not alone. There are literally, thousands of people who have been through that same situation and can relate. And, if you go to a place where there's no judgment and nothing like that, that's where I think I felt really able to talk to people and tell my story and not worry about what, anybody was going to say or if I was going to be judged or anything like that.
Right, because oftentimes, like, not wanting to be able to tell our stories because of the fear of rejection or abandonment. So oftentimes people will be like, I'm not telling anybody because nobody would understand this. Nobody would get how dark I've gotten. And it's intriguing to me because I know that you've had these conversations where people can literally tell you anything and you're like, thank you for telling me. Instead of like so often, like, I've run the abandonment story of, if I show up here, people are definitely going to run. And that's been one of my favorite places of hanging out with you, is because you're so gifted at hearing that and just sitting with it and being still with it and being in a place of, wow, okay, thank you. That I see the courage that it took to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Once you've been through that, you can understand how hard it is for somebody to come to you and say, this is what I'm going through, or this is what I've done, or this is where I'm at. And just, that's one of the things I love to be able to do, is just to sit with people and talk with them, because, I've been there. I know how that feels. I know, how hard it is. And I know how, you need somebody to just sit down and talk, doesn't matter what time of day, or it could be 3 o'clock in the morning and just have that conversation of, you could be just crying, and it's just such a great release to have somebody to do that with.
Tell me more about, this is driving me insane, by the way. Like, my brain is in overtime on trying to figure this out. But okay, tell me more about first of all, one of my questions is, what today is the area that is a challenge for you to still reach out and ask for help? What, if anything?
If anything, it's probably like at work. It's still a challenge for me to ask for help, because I've been in work situations where I've had bosses or managers who, have not been positive. And when I've asked for help, have either made me feel belittled or lesser of a person. So I think I still have that fear of, if I have to ask a question, or if I have to ask somebody for help at work, they're going to think, I'm stupid, or I can't get this done, or something like that. So I still have that I'm working through it, but I still have that fear sometimes of asking for help in that situation there. But outside of anything of that, I don't feel like I do. I feel like I've been able to come to people and talk to them about pretty much anything that's going on.
Mm. It's intriguing, isn't it? That was my mean mug.
Oh.
It totally works. The microphone hopefully feels really bad about its performance this evening. The judgments that I've recognized that oftentimes I'll have in those old storylines and in those old narratives, like, oh my gosh, I hate being the stupid person, or
exactly.
There's like
exactly.
This, I remember being in Mr. like Engelbrettson's class, and I'd be like, I have the wrong answer. Let me say it in front of the class. I have the completely wrong answer. And then can you please embarrass me and shame me for that? Because that would be amazing. 7-year-old me. Yeah. Oh gosh, the torture of those, like,
oh God,
of the embarrassment, the blaming, the shaming, the criticizing, like just that toxicity, and how, like, that is really, I think, why metal music was created.
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. I totally believe so.
Because you can't get that across in pop music. It can only come in high level, like vomit,
yes.
Like you're about to be kicked in the head and your best friend has to pull you out of the circle. Yeah. That's where it comes across. I just want to read this back. It says, Anna Wilson said, I wish you were here by Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah. That's a great song.
Friend Steppenwolf.
Yes.
Hey, Danielle. Oh, it's great to see you. Yes. Wish you were here by Pink Floyd. Sing that one for me. How's that one go again?
Two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Year after year. Yep.
Oh.
Going over the same old ground. How you found the same old fear. Wish you were here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's an awesome song.
What I love about music, again, so one of the things through Lighthouse Effects, we work with the communities. So we empower the musicians then work within their communities. But there is this presence with lyrics that helps us to remap the brain. So not only the neurons in this brain, but in this brain and in your solar plexus brain.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about moments within our storylines,
right,
where massive shifts happen, and
right.
I know that for a time there was a massive amount of isolation where you needed to withdraw and just kind of exit out,
right,
in order to create more space for yourself and in order to create boundaries for yourself.
Right.
So I would love for you, now that I put you on the spot about it, I'd love for you to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for the welcome. I didn't really realize we were doing that. Go
ahead. Oh man. Well, I mean, as you know, there are moments where I would absolutely just disappear. I would, leave town without a note, without without a phone call or anything. And I would just take off on a bus, not knowing where I was going, where I was headed to, what was going to happen. I just knew that I needed to get away and I needed to get out and I just needed to be by myself, and what was going to happen was going to happen. I didn't really think of, the consequences of coming back, or if I was going to come back, or any of that. I would just spend time, in hotel rooms, just writing and just being by myself in my own thoughts and just away from anybody that was going to, tell me that I can't do this. I needed to be just on my own and just doing my own thing and just going on what I considered an adventure, but I don't know if everybody who really thought of it as an adventure. But yeah, I mean, that was my thing for a little while. I would just, be out of there. If there was too much pressure happening, or if there was just a situation I didn't like that was going on, I would be like, goodbye, everybody. I don't know when I'll be back or what's gonna happen, but it's been swell.
And there's a sorry closed sign up and you're like, wait, but the hours say open. Why is there a sorry closed? I'm confused. I just remember being in that space. Yeah. So again, for those just joining us, this is music journalist Kate Smith. She's also in pre-production for a movie and the book that is corresponding. Well, I don't know. Is it corresponding with the movie?
No, they're actually two very different things. Okay. I can explain if you want me to go into it a little bit.
I do. Yes. Let me finish off that last sure. piece. So for those people who are kind of like in the space that I don't have the boundaries or the community yet to be able to really say, hey, I need space. Hey, I need support to look this way. Right. Because oftentimes we'll speak up and we'll be like, I want support to look like that. And people are like, what did you just say? And they'll just set it all down. It'll be like, no, you're not getting that support. I'll fix you and that'll be better. Right. And I recognize that how often people kind of get trapped in that loop of if I show up, I don't know how to ask for what my needs are. And right. I don't really know my full value. I don't know like what the value is in this. And I certainly don't know my core worth here. And so right. therefore I'll just isolate myself and then everything will be better. And right. And that there's actually a step-by-step process to get to right. the place where your full voice can be seen, can be heard, can be nourished in community. So after a number of times of going through this in your life where you recognize that you need isolation here in mm-hmm. order to get to a really grounded place, what are some of the self-care places that you've created this really beautiful space for yourself in nourishment and in helping to broaden what it looks like to build a community through those areas? I'm guiding you towards a place that I'm thinking. So
is it Mount Shasta? Could it be Mount Shasta?
But really, like, what are your places that you started to expand that nourishment for yourself?
So, I mean, the places that I've been to or places that I've just created within myself or?
Yes.
So places I've created within myself, I just kind of just found my own worth through just being by myself and just not really thinking about other people's opinions or other people's judgments or anything like that. I just kind of found my own core worth, like just through myself, really. That, you know, it was a long struggle. It was little by little that I did that, but it was just pretty much just kind of being in that isolation and just being with myself, where I was able to value myself more and just being able to find a voice more. Because when I was surrounded by people, it was very hard for me to have that voice and to have my own thoughts. And there were times that I just felt very small when I was in a big group of people. So when I was alone, I would, you know, tell myself, I would have talks with myself saying, you are a good person. You are, you know, you've been through some hard stuff. You've done some things that you regret, and you know, you really have to look at that and address it, but you can't put yourself down for it, and you can't punish yourself. You have to stop punishing yourself for it and just kind of look at yourself at how you are now, and just how you've grown from those situations. That's kind of how I started fixing myself in a way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, the replenishing.
Yeah, the replenishing. Yes. Right, is it my darn it. It's gonna not look again.
Okay. Danielle asked, what's the name of the movie? We're not going to get into that yet because she's in pre-production. But thank you for the question. And you can follow. How do they find you, by the way, if they're searching? How do they find you?
So you can find me on Facebook as Kate Smith. Very simple. You know, there's a lot of them out there. Yeah, there's a lot. Or you can find me through In Rock We Trust, which is my Facebook page right now that I do a lot of reviews and working on my book, and through that's mainly the place you can find me. I've kind of been away from social media for a little while a lot of this craziness has been happening. So probably if you want to get in touch with me, you can also email me, and I can send you that information too.
Yes. 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 I like the idea of having them go to In Rock We Trust to connect with you.
Yeah.
Anna works in film.
Oh. Hi, Anna.
You are probably going to want to connect. That would be really
Yes, cool. Absolutely.
If you through In Rock We Trust, please, Anna. And then there you go. Just tell that right there. That's beautiful. For letting us know that. I was also, what's intriguing, right, is Ann Wilson, because I was just thinking, I'm like, oh my God, before I saw Anna's name show up, I was like, oh yeah, remember all the heart songs we used to jam and rock out to? And, yeah. Anna Wilson text. So I thought that was awesome. Tell me about, this is so fun. This is like,
it is. I love this.
Yeah. Like breakdown time with Kate Smith. Tell me about it, Kate.
Exactly.
When this is the next like key piece that I think that people often, that I've noticed people get lost in, is into relationship and letting other people's, like in relationship is where we begin to define ourselves and find ourselves. So tell me about lost to found in relationships. Go.
Lost to found. So finding myself in relationships.
Yes.
You know, probably the relationship I have now is where I feel like I've truly found myself. when I was in my marriage, I feel that's where I lost myself. I feel that's where I became somebody else that I didn't recognize. And it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just the fact that I put myself so much into this relationship. And while I was married, I was still drinking and had issues and all of that. And I felt in order to repair after I had stopped drinking, I needed to put myself fully into the marriage and do what needed to be done to fix it. And whether that was moving to Hawaii and buying a home and living this life that I wasn't in control of, I was going to do it. And it took about 8 years to realize that that's what I was doing. It took a long time to realize that I was not myself. I was not a person that I recognized. It wasn't a good thing. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just a very strange thing. And the relationship I have with Mike, I feel like I have found myself. I feel I can be totally myself with him. I can be goofy. I can have breakdowns. I can have panic attacks. I can be sad and depressed and cry and scream. And he's there and saying, it's okay. You're okay. It's going to be fine, because he's been through the same things that I have, which is awesome. And that's why I love him so much, that we connect on that level. Because with my husband at the time, I don't think we really connected that way. I don't think he really understood, because he hadn't been through that. So I don't think he really understood truly how to help with what I was feeling and what I was going through. And I don't think he realized the seriousness of certain situations that happened. But with Mike, I feel like, I can come to him. I can text him in the middle of the day and say, I'm having a panic attack. Oh my God. And he's like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. Just breathe. You're going to get through this. Okay. And I do the same for him. And we support each other, and we just, we kind of feel like we're the same. Actually, it's pretty funny. Like, we'll be thinking the same thing at the same time, and we'll text it to each other and be like, oh my God. It's pretty crazy, but it's awesome.
That's beautiful. What is the key piece where you started? Okay, when you were shifting and when you were recognizing, like, this really, I'm not really in alignment with myself. Oftentimes people come to like a darkness in that area. Was there a darkness there for you? That's like yes or no? Was there a darkness there for you?
Yes.
Was there music that helped to support you right there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What was it? What was your playlist?
My playlist was Foreigner, Feels Like the First Time. Let's see, Styx. I can't remember exactly what song it was, but Styx was part of it. Journey, Who's Crying Now? Also Metallica, and that's all I can think of. Yeah.
There's like this warm embracing of our darkest times, so often what I've recognized is that people go through that period of time alone. Right. And the aloneness can be expanded with music, and like pouring in and nourishing with like, as we're being broken open and as we're falling together, instead of just broken, it's broken open, and then instead of falling apart, it's falling together, as it's all kind of like, that I've found so often that music is just the current that literally, because it's currents coming through the airwaves, but the current that can really help to nourish the direction that we're wanting to go. So I'm interested in finding out. So through this whole thing, you've been like a metal journalist. What are some of the like metal pieces that you're really intrigued by today, now that you're in a place of a lot more nourishment? What is really feeding you these days, and what bands are we looking out for, and what's kind of feeding you?
What's feeding me today? Let's see. You know, I've gone back to the 80s. I've kind of, you know, there's not a lot of new bands that I listen now today. I've gone back to the old school, Wasp, Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, AC/DC, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, just re-listening to that. And now that I'm in a place where I'm of nourishment, just listening to those songs again has just been like, wow, like how making me realize how amazing these musicians are and how incredible. And the fact that these people have been doing it for so long, like for over 40 years, practically, if not more, you know? Yeah. So just been kind of going back to the old school, really.
I love that. And there, of course, a lot of them are coming out with new albums, so that's helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's really beautiful. And I also appreciate, you know, because I remember being like into, I don't know, Huey Lewis, and that was spectacular. I love that.
Right.
But I remember being like we would go and watch some of the punk bands, and the first time that I heard you were playing me something, I don't remember what it was, but it was a punk band. And because this is when you were like first interested in music journalism, and I thought that they were taking a microphone. I'd never heard like that level of, well, anger, really.
Right. Yeah.
I was like listening to Kermit the Frog and Over the Rainbow stuff when you were like in it, you know. And so you like played me this, or Max, maybe it was you and Max, I don't remember, but it sounded like somebody held a microphone over a toilet bowl and they were flushing the toilet. And then he like showed me the lyrics. I'm like, lyrics? There's somebody singing right now. This is like, and I remember you being so vibrant around this stuff. And I was like, wow, depth, man. That is depth. Like, I couldn't even comprehend how heavy that was. And what has always intrigued me about you is that you have this huge capacity for all of this vibrancy. And I had a lot of judgments around that. I'm like, how can a person be so vibrant and also really, really love like that like fuel energy? Mm-hmm. And then I remember just going to concerts with you, and you'd have like, you'd be in it and you're committed and you're like, we're going to the front of the stage. And I'm like, okay, protect me. So, you and Heidi used to be like punching people when we were going to the front of the stage. And I was like, I always felt protected. So thank you for that. But I just always remember that there's a vibrancy that comes. And that's what I love about you, is that there's a vibrancy that comes when you know all of yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think with metal, I think a lot of people think of it as a dark thing. And it's really not. Like, through the metal, you know, and there's a metal community that really, I feel like a lot of people can relate to, because there is a huge metal community where people who feel they are alone, they're not, and they find these people and they connect with them and they connect through music. And I find that a beautiful thing too. And I think that's what really drove me to metal, is that there was that connection, there was that the thrash metal community or the death metal community or anything. And it was like these people were happy. They weren't, they were angry, but when we were together, we were happy and we were having a blast and having a great time and not worrying about anything. We were just there listening to the music and just enjoying it and just, having, like you said, we're just going through the crowd and getting to the front of the stage and just being up there trying to, sing with the lead singer or just, doing whatever we were doing, going into the mosh pit or playing air guitar or whatever we were doing. And that's what I feel about metal today is like, it's this beautiful thing that even though it can be seen as dark, it's really not. It's really a beautiful connection that people can make with it because there is truth in it. There's this truth in the songs that people write. There is like, when I would listen to pop songs, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is really nice and everything, wait, yay, okay, but when I would listen to a metal song, I'd be like, yes, you're speaking my truth and you're hearing me and you're putting it out there. So I can say it too. And that's what I always found beautiful about metal as well. You can just, there was always a brutal honesty that they didn't care about what anybody thought. They said it and they just put it out there and they're like, you know what, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. Don't buy the album. That's fine with us. You're not the person that should be listening to it in the first place. If you're not getting it, that's fine.
Wrap it up and send it off.
Put it aside.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate the integrity behind not only that there's no longer just one thing that I've really recognized about death metal, that scene. First of all, the integrity level of it, that there's a high level of integrity. Second, the intricacy of it. I don't know that I recognized it until I started hanging out with you and tried to play those chords on the guitar. And they're putting in like jazz fusion chords and, really well studied. And then the next piece of that was that anger and sadness and fear don't just have to look one way, that it can actually have a lot of volume and it can have a lot of capacity and that it can be nourishing for communities of people who want to find other ways to express themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I really see that about you. And I really love that you've led that commitment in your heart, that you've really built a career around not only just metal, but really women in metal and women in that scene. And I really cherish you just holding that space for people and creating space where people can be heard and celebrated.
Thank you.
Yeah. Really, really loving you. You're so amazing.
Thank you.
So
I love you. You're amazing as well. I think you're incredible. You're an awesome and beautiful person. And I just cherish the fact that we've been friends for 31 years now.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. It's been beyond awesome. It's been amazing.
Yeah. I think let me just, yes, love it. Okay. We have a few moments. Anna said, that's awesome. Debbie Garcia, whom you're going to want to talk to because she knows a lot of metal people. So you'll want to connect with her. And then Anna is giving a hello again. So I'm excited for you all to connect after this. If you're enjoying the show, even if you're not enjoying the show, really, but you're welcome to forward this to your friends and share it. Again, this is True EQ through Lighthouse FX, AFFECTS. Please come find us and like the page, share it. We're always sharing emotional health tools and emotional literacy tools and filling up this frequency with vibrancy. I just made that up. Thank you. So again, please tell them one more time how they can find you through Facebook, just on the one page.
On the one page, so it's In Rock We Trust. It's just Facebook.com, In Rock We Trust.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can actually just do this really quickly because, okay. And watch this. Watch. Here goes. Nothing.
Nothing?
I did it.
Yay!
Debbie would be so proud of me. Debbie's always like behind the scenes. She's like, "You got this. You got this." I'm like, "I don't got this. I don't got this." So I'm grateful that I finally got that.
We totally got it.
Okay,
Awesome.
So I would really like to close out just with like what you do for your daily practice for nourishment. So what are your tools today that you're using for nourishment?
So for nourishment today, I mean, I try to make the most out of every day before I go to work. I do a 10 to 15 minute meditation in the morning. I do about half an hour of yoga. I'll do every other day, probably not every day, but every other day I'll do like a 40 to 45 minute workout at home. Just with weights, just a simple workout. And I'll have music, of course, in the background playing. Either I have vinyl, cassettes, CDs, I have it all playing in the background, usually metal, usually something like Metallica or even Bon Jovi I'll have playing in the background. And then, you know, I'll go walk Essie for a little while, and then I'll just sit down and write. Because when I'm doing these things, that's when the ideas start coming. Is when I'm doing meditation or I'm doing yoga. That's when the creative ideas start pouring in. And then I'm just gotta sit down and just start writing them out about things that I want to do and things that I want to, you know, create. And just start working on like immediately, like whether it's for the movie or for the book or just for the page or for a review or a new idea I want to take the website or the web page to. So that's pretty much what I do just for nourishment for myself, and just, you know, either watching a comedy or just listening to some great music in the morning, just uplifting music like Journey or, you know, something like that. And just make, you know, to make myself feel like I can take on the day. This is going to be an awesome day, you know? No matter what happens, it's going to be an awesome day.
Yeah. And I love that really for you, the day is whatever it is. And you just are in this place of, we're just going to cope and deal and we're going to go. That's like, sometimes that's the day. You know?
Exactly.
Like we're hoping for here. And sometimes we're like, I can't do the push up. I can't do the chin up. It's like going from 5th grade to do the pull up bar, like 30 of them, to like 8th grade. We're like,
when you're halfway up the gym rope and you're just swinging. Hello? Good. Little help here.
Rope burn.
Severe rope burn. Or just fall on the mat. Oh, God.
That microphone, man. That is all right. We're gonna win. We're gonna win.
We're gonna win this.
Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this. We've had a great time every time.
Absolutely.
I always love connecting with you.
I love connecting with you too.
Thank you so much. Kate Smith, In Rock We Trust is where people can find you. So and anybody that wants to connect to you for interviews as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So good luck on your book. You know, I'm praying for you and the movie.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful to be sharing the space with you. And also like, I'm really nourishing more music and all of the creativity that comes from you. So however I can be of support for that, keep me posted.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're
Okay,
wonderful.
everyone. This is I Am Radiance. You've reached True EQ from, there's a camera right there. True EQ from Lighthouse Effects. Really grateful to be with you this evening. Sending lots of love, and however we can help you as a musician or somebody in the entertainment community with musicians, however we can help you bring more nourishment to yourself so that you can give from the overflow into your communities. Please let us know. Stay tuned. We will see you next week. And there's upcoming is check out Sign Networks, Unify. This is all the people that we're thanking. And Spirituality Gone Wild, Love Coach Academy, and Light Touch with Jay Mayer. So those are all the people within the community that are supporting and nourishing you. If you have people that you would like for us to interview, please include those. And if you have songs to add to the set list of life, please include those so that we can continue on with those conversations as well. Lots of love to you, Kate. Thank you so much.
Lots of love. Lots of love to you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, beautiful. Bye, everyone.
Bye.